Well, here's the thing about saving the world. I've been waiting for everything to be perfect. I've been waiting for one of those gorgeous stage sets and 100 people in the audience, and I've been waiting for my makeup to be perfect, and I've been waiting for my hair to be just right so nobody could find anything wrong with me. And then they would believe what I had to say. Then they would want to know more about what it takes to save themselves. Well, I know it doesn't work like that. I think probably the saddest thing about doing this job of working with people is that people, after 50 years of being a professional who sits down with people to be with them, to help them, they bring in so much of what they've accumulated for so many generations that I can hardly be in the room with them when they start to let it go. And it's not the ones that are willing to let it go that are hard to be with. It's the ones who are fighting letting it go, doing things like blaming me, like saying, well, my last practitioner didn't do that. She did it this way. And I go, well, go back to her. Go back to your last practitioner. Because after 50 years of putting up with this kind of response to the world's best help, I no longer feel like it's the best way for me to spend my time. So I'm just going to put it out to you, all of it, right on out, because the world is in such a state of denial. I'm talking denial. They will run from the truth with their best gear on. They'll run from responsibility for themselves with everything they've got. I do mean everything. They will run with everything from knowing their own ability to bring in the power and the love that conquers all, not other people, but the one that we have to conquer, which is ourself, our disturbed self, our angry self, our fearful self, our lonely self, oh man, I get such calls from such people in such agony and pain. I remember when after my mother died, I was going through her things, and everything was so precious to me. And when I was going through her things, I found this one element that she had never disclosed. And it's this picture that's hanging on the wall. And it's Einstein's quote, imagination is everything. To know is nothing at all. To imagine is everything. And my mother was a brilliant woman, a school teacher, a scholar. And the real thing she was communicating to me was this imprint of the vision, holding the vision of life. She never told me about it, but it was there in her imprint. So, what we're talking about is helping people discover the imprints that can carry them forward by letting them find the imprints that are in the way of them moving forward. So I said to myself, I can't do this one person at a time. It's too much. They bring in too much garbage and they don't want to let it go. They want to dump it like they've been dumping it all their life on their friends, on their family. They've been pulling everyone into their sorrows and griefs and pains and sufferings. And everybody's been hanging out with them in these places out of loyalty, out of the belief that we have to suffer with others in order to help them. Do you believe that? You may. I actually offered a woman the other day a remedy for victim consciousness. Her thyroid area was dysfunctional. Her throat chakra was swollen. And she was suffering in a relationship with her husband. And she was suffering with all her family members hearing their problems and trying to fix them, which there was no fixing. There's no fixing others. They have to fix themselves. You might console them. You might love them wonderfully. But their issue is their issue. It has to be theirs to do. So I offered her a chakra remedy from psychosomatic energetics, and she refused it. She refused the notion of giving up being a victim. Wow. She wasn't happy that it was discovered. So I said, no, don't take the remedy till you're ready to let it go. Because see, nothing happens till we're ready for it to happen. Nothing happens until we'll allow it to happen. We're in charge. We are the cause of our reality. Well, interestingly enough, the next person who showed up was a young doctor. And when I pointed out to him that he had had a life of playing and being the victim, he was thrilled to find it. He was thrilled that it was found. He happily took the remedy. Fortunately, she hadn't taken it, and I only had one bottle left, so great. Well, interestingly enough, I was working with this young doctor, and I said, you know what? I need that remedy too, because I've been being victimized by my clients, by the people who come to me for help because they're fighting themselves. They're fighting their own internal resistance. There's a huge amount of resistance in this world to us being who we really are. Would you have believed it? I mean, you think people try so hard to be, but it's not true. They're trying not to be discovered because in history, being all that you are has been very dangerous in many, many, many cases. Well, let's beat that rap. Let's become a civilization that's happy to be everything we are. This young doctor held the remedy to his chest and wouldn't let it go. He said, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. That's someone I really want to help. Someone who will help others let go of impossible to let go of things. Isn't that exciting? I had to tell you that. I had to tell you that there are so many people coming out of the woodwork who are tired of being worms, hiding in the world and being undiscovered by themselves, which means they're buried in their grief or their fear or their anger or their misery. And they have to fake it and not make it and be mean and never be lean. I notice that the fatter the people are around the belly, the more they scream at others. And they're more irritating, their voices are. And that's because in that area of the body is the gallbladder and liver. And most gallbladders and livers are stored with resentment and anger that keeps the body from methylating, keeps the liver from working, causes the skin and eyes to be dry and lose their luster. Oh, we are complicated. You see, we're complicated energy fields. Everything affects everybody, everything else, and everybody else. So the most we can do is just begin to peel the onion. You know, there's one thing about holistic health is that when people come in for a session that they pay for, they think that's it for the rest of their life. Now they've done their part. It's not true. I have people that I work with, whom I've worked with for 20 years. And I got to tell you, they're in their late 70s, some of them. And one in particular that I'm thinking of runs about 23 miles a day in the gym, plus lifting weights and other such things. Why? Because she does the work of finding her light and love. And love, well, believe it or not, it's up to you. You're in charge. Heals all. I didn't make that up. God is love. Love heals all. What do you want to believe? It's up to you, see? There's so many varying beliefs these days that no one wants to step on anyone else's toes by saying words that will hit the buttons that challenge the steadfast imprints of mental beliefs that interfere with love, light, acceptance of all that is, freedom from all that restrains us and limits us. I'll show you voice printing next time.